This screencast focuses on deeper data analysis of the responses that you received from Google Forms. We've already discussed how to analyze this basic data that Google Forms automatically gives you. However, now you may want to go deeper and get some more analytical data analysis. In order to get the add-on that you need, go to your spreadsheet that is linked to your actual Google form. Go to the tab that says Add-ons and select Get Add-ons. In the search box, type in Super Quiz and it should come to the top. I already have Super Quiz installed, which is why it simply says to manage right here. However, yours probably says install or set up, something similar to that. Go ahead and click that. You only have to do this stage one time. Once you have the add-on added to your account, you no longer have to do that. Once the add-on is in there, you will see it here. It will say Super Quiz. In order to get started with Super Quiz, there are a few things that you need to do. Once you click Get Started, an additional dialog box will come up and you press Get Started again. This box tells you exactly how you have to set up your Google form, your Google Sheets, in order for the add-on to run correctly. What this sidebar is saying is that you need to have the following columns and in the following order. The first column is the timestamp, which automatically appears. Next, you need to either add this column or you may have already included this column in your actual assessment. I tend not to include an email column because I use primary grades or some students may not have email addresses. However, if you've already created an email address, you won't need this column. I do, so I'm going to right click, press insert to the right, and I have now added a whole new column. I'm going to name this column email, and I just go down and press NA because I just need the column for data purposes. I don't need the column for anything else. So I have my timestamp, then email. The next thing you need to ensure that you have is the name. Now what you see next is the score. So you're going to need to move this box over behind the teacher box because it needs to be timestamp, email, name, and then teacher. So I'm just going to move this score box by selecting the letter C, dragging it behind the teacher. Wherever that dark line is, that lets you know where it's going to insert. So now I have set up my spreadsheet to have the timestamp, the email, the name, and the teacher. The score box I have moved to the side. And that's what this sidebar tells you to do. Once you have done that, you're going to select Create Tabs. This step with creating your spreadsheet in the correct order is something you're going to need to do each time. However, once you get accustomed to it, it's not very complicated. So you select Create Tabs. This is going to generate several tabs down at the bottom, and we will discuss each one momentarily. Tabs have been completed. You will see this sidebar will say Success. You will also see several tabs down here at the bottom. I simply close the sidebar. And now let's go through the different tools that you have at the bottom. The first page automatically says Form Responses, the same one you had to begin with. You also have the Right Wrong tab. This tab lets you know what students got which questions incorrect. If the box has a 0 and is white, that lets you know they got the question incorrect. They receive no points for that question. If it has a blue box with a 1, that lets you know the question was correct. It also gives you their percentage score over to the side. The next tab is Class Results, which works very well when you have multiple classes. What ends up happening is right here we only have teacher A. However, if you had multiple teachers, each of the teachers would come down here and it would tell you what percentage of your students got each question correct. So for example, for teacher A, on question 1, 0% of those students got that question correct, while 50% of the students in teacher A's class got question 2 correct. You may also, what you'll notice is as you go down for each of the teachers, if there were more teachers here, you would see that although teacher A's class did not get any of question 1 correct, other classes may have gotten it correct. And that lets you know that those other classes may not need to go back and remediate over this question. I also look at incorrect students. What's going to happen when you pull this tab up? It's automatically going to do this. It automatically generates the email address. So I go over to display and select names. And now you'll see specifically which student got each question incorrect. The other tabs are very detailed and I don't tend to use them. They're very specific to using email addresses. However, it works well with giving students automated feedback based on their responses, automatically generating emails to send to students, different things like that. However, the main 4 that I use are the first 4 tabs. Also, something that becomes beneficial when your questions start to get really long and the students' names are long. If you click on the tabs at the top, I like to select them all, right click and resize the column to 150 or higher so that the columns become wider and it's easier for me to see all of it. I also like to wrap my text so that I can see everything and it does not just go off to the side. So I select this button that says text wrapping, select the middle button, and it's going to wrap your text. Right now my questions aren't very long, so you can't tell that that's what it did. However, it comes in very handy when you have very long questions. I also, for aesthetic purposes, like to add my questions to move up to the top. Each of these are just aesthetic purposes. It automatically has already generated all the data that you would possibly need. There are also several different other tabs down here that you can manipulate and look at the score breakdown and different things like that. So that's just some additional data analysis that you can complete within Google Forms and Google Add-ons.